for me, it's worked. It's been great. Actually gave me a family. I met my family through international teaching, and so I can't complain. So if you've just stumbled on this video, my name's Mark, and the channel's called the Footloose Teacher because of this whole intrepid sort of teaching nomad lifestyle that us international teachers have for 23 years now, and changing countries sort of whenever I felt the desire for a change or whenever I thought it was the best move for my family. And so the whole journey started off in the Philippines. From there I went to Singapore, from Singapore to China, China to Hong Kong, and Hong Kong back to Australia for a little while, then back to Hong Kong again for a second time. Oh, sorry, I skipped one there. Singapore as well for a second time, and now here in Thailand. So the great thing is that you can just kind of pack up and move whenever you want. And you're working in international schools, sometimes with international students, sometimes with local students. And I suppose the students themselves, I guess, really are the sort of the greatest part of this, because so far I've been very lucky that I've taught amazing students, and I've almost forgotten what it's like to worry about classroom management. I know in Australia I was always concerned about managing the classroom, managing behaviour, managing the way that I would sort of get through the day in terms of getting the kids to do what I wanted them to do. And I don't have that concern here at all in this international teaching world. It's more a case of meeting academic standards and doing the best you can so they can perform academically, because there are high expectations in most cases. So it's more about academics than classroom management. So it's a different kind of job in many ways. It doesn't mean the students don't have problems. It doesn't mean that everything's perfect for the students. They go through different types of stresses, and stress is a big part of teaching international students, managing your own stress, but the students sort of do sometimes place a lot of stress on themselves, or their parents place a lot of stress on them, and so you've got to navigate that a little bit as well, and be sympathetic to the fact that their lives are not perfect, because they might come from a background where they're a little bit more well off, a little bit better off financially, but that doesn't mean that everything is perfect. In some cases the kids are here on their own. They've been sometimes sent to an international school, sometimes sent to a boarding school, and often away from their parents, or maybe with a guardian or a landlord who checks in with them occasionally. So there are all sorts of stories like that in terms of our students, and they might be easy to manage in the classroom, but outside of the classroom they often have challenges that we need to be aware of. We just had an earthquake here last week, or the week before last, and some of our students are from Myanmar, where the epicenter of that earthquake was, and some of them lost homes. One of my students lost family members in that as well, and we have some students who are from Myanmar who are refugees. So obviously they've gone through very challenging times to get to where they are, and now trying to sort of do the best they can academically to help their family out. And so we've got refugees from some other countries as well, I believe. But yeah, so it's not always as it seems in international schools. But even those kids that have got well-to-do families, as I said, there are other challenges that they have to overcome in order to get to where they want to be. Let's dispel a couple of myths about international teaching. I've never taught English, and most people that I know who work in international schools, nearly all of them, they're not English teachers. Of course there are English teachers that are teaching English because that's a part of the curriculum, but all of our lessons are in English. So I teach business and economics and humanities, but I don't work at an English language centre where I'm teaching Thai students to speak English. And that's the thing that a lot of people think about international teachers. They think that we're English language teachers, and they certainly exist here in Thailand and in other places where I've been, but that's not what I mean when I'm talking about international schools and teaching international students. So that's one myth. The other myth, as I was kind of talking about before, is that this thought that all international students are so wealthy and so privileged. It's not always the case. There are other things with regards to nationalities, myths like, you know, oh, they're all good at math because they're from Asia and things like that, which is definitely not the case at all. And I suppose the other thing is that this thought that, oh, it's a dream world. If you get lucky enough to get a great job in an international school, you've got it made. But there are a lot of teachers that just don't, it doesn't suit them. They get homesick the first year. I've had known lots of situations where I've worked with people and after 6 months they've left. In one case I recall a teacher who left without even telling anyone. She just couldn't cope with it and just packed up and left her apartment without letting anyone know. She just wanted to get out of there. It can be challenging. I was homesick my first year when I was in the Philippines, but eventually it sort of starts to make sense. It starts to feel comfortable. You don't get homesick. In fact, home becomes wherever you are, and you find yourself having a different understanding or having a different definition of what it means to be at home. And so that is reassuring that it all kind of starts to become fun and it starts to be exciting. Every time you change countries, it's exciting. So obviously the holidays of an international teacher are pretty good, and we get a really long holiday in June, July. But this April break is also great because we don't often get 2 weeks off. We often get just the 1 week. So this is really extra nice, this one. So this year our school is doing renovations on the campus. They're quite major, quite major construction. So because of that, the calendar this year was changed, which meant that we started our school year in August. And we had a couple of long weekends, but we really didn't have a proper break in October as we normally would. We did have a slightly longer break at Christmas, but it meant that the first semester was really long without many breaks. So Christmas was great, and I got back to Australia for that. But sort of been working really hard, pushing through to get to this break, this 2 weeks in April, to get down to the beach and really relax. And then after this holiday, we get back, and it's only about a 7-week stint to get to the end of the year before the big holiday begins. And that's when I'm heading to the Philippines to relaxing a little bit, and then having a bit of time to get ready for the last sort of 7 or 8 weeks, sort of finishing strong. Also helping the grade 12s in their final preparations for their IB diploma exams, which is really, really important. And of course, other things such as graduation, the prom, all those final things that make the last few weeks of school kind of really busy, a little bit draining, but also it's really nice to sort of say the farewells to another cohort of grade 12 students that I've spent a lot of time with. I was also lucky enough just to spend the last 4 days in Hanoi with the football team that I coach, and among that group of boys there were also 4 grade 12 students, and 2 of those that I've been teaching for the last 3 years. So it was nice to spend some time with them. Now they're back studying, and I'm on holiday. Every person's situation is different, every job is different, every international school is different, every country is different. But everywhere that I've worked, I do feel very looked after by the school that I've worked for. And often it's little things as well. When you start a new job, for example, and you arrive and there's someone there to meet you at the airport, to take you to the pre-arranged accommodation, which is always nice. Sometimes they give you some cash to get you started, to sort out things like health insurance, which is always provided, and return flights also every year in some cases. Having a return flight, so a flight back to your country of origin every single year, all paid for. Sometimes it's actually more than that. Sometimes it's a travel or a holiday allowance, and this is mostly for you, the teacher, but also your dependents. So for me in Hong Kong, that was my wife and my 2 daughters. For every year we had return flights back to Australia, as well as all our insurance covered, and sort of other things that pop up occasionally as well that were provided for us. Of course, the tuition. So probably the biggest thing is getting an international education for your children. And for me, that was 2 daughters. So my 2 daughters got to graduate at an international school where I was working in Hong Kong, and I think that really kind of put them in a good position in terms of the education they received, and it meant we weren't paying for anything at the school, really. Sometimes there's a limit to the number of kids that will be a part of the arrangement, so I was maybe a little bit lucky to have tuition provided for two of my daughters, well, my 2 daughters. But yeah, it was nice. So, international teaching. Yeah, well, obviously I'm biased, I've done it for a long time, but I would encourage anyone who's interested in travel, anyone who's looking for new experiences, anyone who thinks it would be better to live in a country rather than just kind of pass through as a tourist. People who might want to really immerse themselves and learn languages, people who are looking to give their children new experiences as well. Yeah, I think it's great. I think you've got to do your research, you've got to really look into the process in terms of how to get the good jobs, or how to just get your foot in the door and get yourself started, and then you can move on whenever you want to. So for me it's worked, it's been great. Actually gave me a family. I met my family through international teaching, and so I can't complain. It's given me a lot of experiences, taught me a lot, helped me to change my perspective on the world. And yeah, I would encourage anyone who's thinking about it to find out more, get into it, and see how it fits for you. We have our sunset over there behind us, and yeah, a beautiful part of it obviously is being able to travel to beautiful places like Thailand, Philippines. My experience in China was also amazing. Hong Kong became my home. Singapore, I was also in Singapore for 6.5 years. So these places become part of your story, and maybe the story of your children as well.